chosen one. I am seeking to touch your heart, not through cries that fill you with fear, nor through warnings that force you to hurry, but through the patient love that has always quietly called you back to truth, peace, and light. There have been days when you wandered far from the gentle voice within you. You allowed exhaustion, disappointment, and the noise of the world to cover the faith that was once so clear. You did not intentionally turn away from me. You were simply too exhausted, too occupied with surviving, and too accustomed to carrying everything alone. I know this. I do not look upon you with blame. I look upon you as a father who sees his child after a long journey, with dust upon their feet and many scratches upon their heart. Therefore, what I want to tell you today is not, "You have missed me," but, "I am still here, and you can still begin again." I sent Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and servant, who carries out my good will, to stand beside you during the seasons when you needed courage. Michael did not come to make you suspicious of everyone around you, nor to convince you that secret dangers were hiding behind every smile. His presence reminds you to remain faithful to what is good, refuse to be governed by fear, and protect the peace I placed within your heart. Some of the greatest battles do not take place outside you, but within the moments when you must choose between bitterness and forgiveness, impulsive reaction and calmness, continuing to live according to former wounds, and deciding to build a new person. Michael stands as a symbol of such steadfastness, but you must also choose to take hold of courage, step out of confusion, and return to what is true. Perhaps recently, you have often felt that you nearly lost your direction. Certain decisions made while you were angry, lonely, or desperate may have brought you close to consequences you would later regret. Yet I do not want you to live obsessed with what almost happened. Look back with gratitude because you are still here and still have the opportunity to make amends, apologize, rest, and choose your path again. My intervention is often not a dramatic miracle that overturns everything in a single moment. It may be a telephone call arriving at the right time, an inner prompting that causes you to pause before an unwise decision, a loved one speaking honestly to you, or a night of sufficient rest that allows you to see the situation more clearly the next morning. Do not underestimate these ordinary things. I often lead you away from danger through wisdom, community, discernment, and the courage to say no to what you already know is unhealthy. I know you once wished for one key that could reverse every difficulty. You wanted a message that would immediately resolve financial problems, heal every emotional wound, and open a future without challenges. But my beloved child, lasting renewal is rarely built through one emotional moment. It is created through small choices repeated consistently. Managing money more honestly, seeking help when your health needs attention, leaving a harmful relationship, learning a new skill, establishing boundaries with someone who continually exhausts you, and permitting yourself to rest without guilt. I do not promise that every problem will disappear immediately. I promise that you do not have to face those problems through despair. I will lead you toward clarity. But you must cooperate with that guidance through responsibility and action within your relationships. Remain aware without becoming suspicious of everyone. Not everyone who smiles at you is hiding harmful intentions, and you do not need to turn your life into a search for betrayal. Yet love does not require you to ignore what is obvious. If someone continually says one thing but does another, dismisses your feelings, exploits your kindness, or causes you to live in constant fear, you need to examine their actions honestly. Do not place severe labels upon them. Observe the results the relationship produces. Are you respected? Can you speak honestly without being threatened or ridiculed? Are your boundaries heard? When the person is wrong, can they accept responsibility? Discernment does not mean condemning another person. It means refusing to continue deceiving yourself. If you recognize that someone is unsafe for your life, you do not need revenge, public exposure, or an attempt to hurt them in order to prove that you are strong. You may step back peacefully. You can clearly state what you will not accept, limit contact, and seek support from trustworthy people. Sometimes, forgiveness is accompanied by reconciliation. But at other times, forgiveness means only that you no longer carry resentment while preserving the necessary distance. I do not call you back to every place where you were hurt. I call you to refuse to let those experiences turn your heart into a dwelling place for hatred. You can remember the lesson without living forever in pain. You can hope that another person will change without giving them permission to continue causing harm. I also want you to be cautious of the belief that a powerful person is secretly watching you and determining your entire future. Sometimes people with responsibility in your workplace, community, or an organization may indeed be evaluating your abilities. But you do not need to live in an attempt to please an unnamed person. Do what is right even when no one is watching. Complete your work with devotion. Speak honestly. Treat kindly those who cannot advance your position, and develop genuine ability. Recognition from outside may open an opportunity, but your inner character will help you preserve that opportunity. Do not place your destiny entirely into someone else's hands. You can learn, build connections, seek guidance, and move forward actively with what you possess today. When an opportunity for support appears, receive it gratefully while retaining discernment. Not every offer is suitable, and not every delay means rejection. Some doors require time because you are still being prepared. Some doors close because that direction is no longer appropriate. At other times, you need to continue knocking, learn more, and adjust your approach. Do not describe every obstacle as sabotage, because sometimes it is simply a practical signal that your plan needs revision. Maturity means that you no longer blame invisible forces for every difficulty, but pause, observe, and ask, what can I learn? What needs to change? Who can offer trustworthy advice? I do not diminish you when I invite you to accept responsibility. I am returning to you the power to participate in shaping your future. Regarding finances, do not build your hope upon a promise that a miracle will certainly appear. Build hope upon your ability to learn how to manage what you possess, expand your abilities, and search for honest paths. If you are in need, do not feel ashamed to ask for assistance. If you are in debt, begin by looking directly at the numbers and creating a step-by-step plan. If you want greater income, consider which skills you can learn, what work you can do, and which experienced people you can approach. I can give you ideas, endurance, and helpful encounters, but do not let the desire to change your life quickly draw you into offers that lack transparency. What is good does not require you to sacrifice honesty or accept risks you do not understand. Regarding your emotions, I know there were times when you smiled before others while nearly empty within. You feared that speaking honestly would make you a burden. Therefore, you tried to heal every wound through silence. But strength does not mean hiding all your sadness. You may approach a mature friend, a trustworthy family member, or a suitable professional. I do not regard your need for assistance as evidence of weak faith. I can support you through the hands, experience, and presence of people trained to listen. When you can name what you are experiencing, the disorder within often begins to gain structure. When you stop blaming yourself for being tired, you can finally begin to rest and recover. Regarding your health, listen to your body with care rather than panic. Do not interpret every unusual feeling as a prophecy of something terrible, but neither should you ignore persistent or serious symptoms. Seek medical assessment when needed, maintain basic healthy habits, and do not use prayer as a substitute for appropriate care. I have given you the ability to seek knowledge, receive treatment, and allow others to accompany you. Peace does not mean denying reality. It is the strength that helps you face reality without being consumed by fear. You are standing before a threshold of change. But this threshold is not a magical moment that will suddenly turn you into an entirely different person. It appears each morning when you are given the opportunity to choose how you will live during the new day. You can continue postponing an apology, or you can offer it. You can continue maintaining a habit that exhausts you, or you can begin changing it. You can remain in a chaotic relationship because you fear loneliness, or you can choose the necessary space in which to heal. You can continue saying that you are incapable, or you can learn one small step at a time and move closer to what you desire. Transformation does not always create great noise. Sometimes it is simply the moment when you look at yourself and say, "I will not live this way forever." I have seen your hesitation, but I do not condemn you. Sometimes you slowed down because you lacked sufficient information. Sometimes you were afraid because you had failed before. Sometimes the world around you distracted you, caused you to pursue approval, and made you forget important values. Forgive yourself for those times. Then begin again with clarity. You do not need to wait until all fear disappears before moving. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing what is right while your heart is still trembling. Michael reminds you of this courage. Not strength used to attack others, but strength that helps you remain faithful to what is good when you are tempted to return to your former way. My child, you are standing before a turning point that can change the way you view yourself, the relationships around you, and the path you choose from today onward. Perhaps in recent days, you have sensed that something is gradually moving, even though outward circumstances have not yet shown a clear difference. An important conversation may be under consideration. Someone with responsibility or the ability to support you may be observing your effort, character, and response to difficulty. But I do not want you to live in anxious anticipation, trying to guess who is watching or which decision is being made behind closed doors. What I want you to understand is that your life of integrity is not meaningless. Your perseverance, honesty, and the good things you quietly do are still producing results, even when recognition does not arrive immediately. During this important time, I sent Archangel Michael as my faithful messenger, protector of courage, and servant who carries out my goodwill. Michael did not come to promise that every door will open exactly as you desire, nor to make you believe that secret forces are deciding your destiny. His image reminds you to remain upright while waiting, refuse to bow before fear, and preserve your dignity rather than sacrifice it merely to obtain an opportunity. There are moments when you need to speak up for your value, But there are also moments when you should calmly allow your actions and results to speak in place of further explanation. Courage is not revealed only in major decisions. It is also present when you continue doing what is right while no one is watching. Keep learning before receiving an opportunity, and treat others kindly despite having experienced unfair treatment. I know you once hoped that someone would recognize your ability and provide the support you needed. Perhaps that person was a manager, a partner, a family member, or someone who could influence your next step. You felt that one decision from them could help everything progress more quickly or cause your plans to be delayed. But my child, do not give one person complete authority over your future. Support from others is valuable, but it is not the only source determining whether you can grow. A closed door may disappoint you, but it does not prove that you lack ability. A delay may exhaust you, but it does not mean the journey has ended. Appreciate an opportunity when it appears, but continue preparing so that if it does not arrive as you hoped, you will still possess enough strength to choose another direction. Perhaps you once viewed delay as rejection. When a response came slowly, you began doubting yourself. When a plan failed to unfold at the expected time, you assumed that all your work had become meaningless. When others did not yet recognize your value, you diminished yourself to fit their judgment. But I am teaching you to separate your worth from other people's reactions. You remain valuable while waiting. You continue developing even before being chosen. You can still prepare, learn, and improve what is necessary without turning delay into a sentence upon your life. Some delays help you correct a weakness. Some periods of waiting help you understand what you truly want. At other times, you need the courage to admit that the place in which you are waiting is no longer suitable for you. Remember that not every obstacle exists because someone is intentionally trying to redirect you. Sometimes the cause is very practical: incomplete information, skills that need development, limited resources, or unsuitable timing. Discernment will prevent you from transforming every difficulty into a mysterious battle. Look directly at the circumstances and ask what lies within your ability. Can you improve the way you present your work? Can you develop another skill? Can you actively ask for feedback instead of sitting and guessing? Can you explore other paths rather than waiting for one person's decision? Faith does not replace preparation. It helps you prepare without despair, work without losing peace, and continue moving, even when the result remains uncertain. I know you long for restoration in many areas. Perhaps your finances have passed through a difficult season. Perhaps your emotions have become exhausted after repeated disappointment. Perhaps health concerns have forced you to slow down and change many plans. I do not want you to believe that merely listening to a message will immediately solve every problem. Restoration is usually a process containing many small steps. Financially, it may begin with reviewing your spending, looking for additional opportunities, learning how to manage resources, and seeking advice when necessary. Emotionally, it may begin through honesty, rest, speaking with someone trustworthy, and leaving relationships that continually drain you. Physically, it may begin by listening to real symptoms, protecting your sleep, eating regularly, and seeking professional care when something causes concern. Do not call every form of progress a miracle while neglecting your responsibility. Some good things arrive unexpectedly and fill you with deep gratitude, but much lasting change is built through small choices practiced consistently. Debt does not disappear merely because you hope. It requires a plan. An emotional wound does not heal simply because you try to forget it. It needs acknowledgement and patient attention. A health problem should not be ignored because you assume you will be fine. It requires evaluation when necessary. I do not consider your seeking help a lack of faith. On the contrary, it is how you honor life and the resources placed around you. Perhaps you are standing before a new threshold, but still hesitating. You look forward and see possibility while also remembering former failures. You want change, yet one part of you fears leaving what is familiar. Your current circumstances may not make you happy, but at least you know how to survive within them. The future remains uncertain. I understand this struggle, yet you cannot enter what is new while using both hands to hold tightly to what is old. There comes a time when you must decide that your peace, growth, and dignity are more important than familiarity. You do not need to make a thoughtless leap. You can prepare, gather information, and advance gradually. But you need to stop using fear as a reason for endless delay. The world around you may distract you through countless voices. Some people tell you that you must move faster. Others tell you to surrender. Some use their success to make you believe that you are behind. Some appear only when you begin progressing and place old doubts within you again. If you listen to everyone, you will no longer recognize the voice of wisdom within your own heart. Reduce your exposure to sources that keep you trapped in comparison. Stop seeking validation from people who do not understand the road you are walking. Advice is valuable only when it comes from someone possessing understanding, sincerity, and a willingness to take responsibility for what they say. Not everyone who speaks forcefully is correct. Not every word that excites you leads toward what is good. I want you to learn the difference between a healthy warning and manipulation. A healthy warning may cause you to think, but it still allows you to remain calm and free to choose. Manipulation makes you fear that unless you obey immediately, you will lose everything. Good guidance may reveal what needs correction, but it does not destroy your sense of worth. Deception often mixes a portion of truth with fear in order to create dependence. Therefore, whenever you hear an important message, examine the result it produces. Does it help you become more honest, loving, and responsible? Or does it cause panic, suspicion toward everyone, and the surrender of your ability to reason? I do not need to frighten you in order to lead you. My love does not force you. There may have been people around you who spoke sweetly, but did not genuinely desire what was good for you. It is also possible that you misunderstood someone because you were carrying many wounds. Therefore, do not hastily assign harmful motives without evidence. Observe consistency. Notice how they treat you when you can no longer benefit them. See whether they respect boundaries, keep their promises, and accept responsibility when wrong. The truth about a relationship is rarely contained. In one moment, it is revealed through a repeated pattern. You do not need to live defensively, but neither do you need to deny what you have witnessed many times. If you recognize that a relationship is leading you away from your direction, leave it maturely. Do not turn separation into a campaign to hurt one another. Do not use things once shared in trust as weapons. You may state clearly that a form of treatment is no longer acceptable, that you need distance, or that you cannot continue the relationship in its former form. The other person may disagree, but you still possess the right to protect your peace. Forgiveness does not mean allowing them to continue doing what caused pain. You may release resentment while keeping the door closed. You may hope that they grow without returning to the position that once caused you to collapse. I also want you to examine the ways you may have unintentionally deceived yourself. Perhaps you called fear patience. You said you were waiting for the proper time, while in truth you feared rejection. Perhaps you called endurance loyalty, although inwardly you already knew that boundaries were needed. Perhaps you said that others were obstructing you, while part of the delay came from your unwillingness to do what was difficult. I do not say this to condemn you. I say it to restore your ability to choose. When you recognize your own responsibility, you no longer need to wait for the entire world to change before you can begin. The greatest turning point is often not when outward circumstances change, but when you decide not to continue living in the former way. It is when you stop pursuing recognition from someone who never valued you. It is when you begin managing your finances instead of avoiding the numbers. It is when you seek assistance rather than hiding your pain. It is when you stop claiming that you have no choice and begin seeing the small steps directly before you. These decisions may create no dramatic noise, but they alter the direction of your life. A powerful person may offer you an opportunity, but your character will determine how well you preserve and use it. Therefore, while you wait, become trustworthy. Learn to arrive on time. Keep your word, communicate clearly, and complete your work with devotion. Receive correction without becoming immediately defensive. Know how to admit when you do not understand and remain willing to learn. These qualities may not bring immediate results, but they create a foundation that jealousy and delay cannot easily destroy. What someone else gives you may be taken away, but the ability and character you build will continue with you. Do not view support only as money, a title, or a major advancement. Sometimes support comes through honest correction. One rejection may cause you to improve something that was lacking. Someone who courageously points out a weakness may be more valuable than many who only praise you. A slower season may give you time to recover before accepting greater responsibility. Keep your heart open to forms of help that differ from what you imagined. What is good does not always appear in brilliant clothing. Sometimes it arrives quietly through an encounter, a lesson, or a seemingly small decision. If today you still do not know which direction to choose, return to the foundations. What aligns with the good values by which you want to live? Which choice helps you preserve honesty? Which direction does not require you to lose your health, dignity, or healthy relationships? What helps you grow instead of merely avoiding temporary discomfort? You do not need to see the whole road. Choose the most responsible next step. Once you take it, clarity concerning the following step will gradually appear. Do not wait until fear has completely disappeared before you begin. Fear may still accompany you during the first days of change, but it does not need to take control. You can tremble and still speak the truth. You can remain uncertain and still submit an application, begin a conversation, study, or seek help. You may have failed before and still try again with greater wisdom. Courage is not a continual feeling of strength. It is the decision not to allow one painful experience to become a prophecy governing your entire future. Forgive those who caused you to question your worth. Forgiveness does not make wrongdoing right, but it releases you from the need to prove yourself to them. Forgive yourself for the times when you hesitated, the opportunities you missed, and the decisions you made without wisdom. You cannot return and change yesterday, but you can use its lesson to live differently today. Do not use your present understanding to despise your former self. At that time you acted according to what you knew. Now you know more. So choose more wisely, my child. You are near a transformation. But that change will not be determined by a prediction. It will be created through the way you live from now onward. Release the voices that diminish you. Leave the cycles that exhaust you. Protect your health, value your time, and work with devotion. Be grateful for those who supported you, while refusing to resent those who could not give what you hoped to receive. Every person has their own limitations and journey. You do not need to make them enemies in order to possess the right to continue. Michael remains a symbol of courage and protection, reminding you not to diminish yourself before fear. But it is I who am telling you that you do not need one spectacular miracle before you can begin changing. Begin with what you possess. One right decision today may become the foundation of a new season. One apology may heal a relationship. One clear boundary may end years of exhaustion. One small habit may improve your health and finances over time. One courageous step away from what is no longer suitable may open paths you have never seen. Therefore, rise calmly. Do not fight the entire world. Overcome the things within that are holding you back. Procrastination, insecurity, resentment, and the need for everyone's approval. Speak forgiveness toward the person who hurt you, and then lay down the burden that no longer belongs to you. Forgive yourself and stop living, as though one mistake could erase everything good within you. Remain grateful that you still have time to learn, the ability to change, and people willing to walk beside you. You do not need to know which door tomorrow will open. Live in such a way that whichever door opens, you can enter it with wisdom. If an opportunity comes, receive it with humility and responsibility. If it is delayed, continue preparing. If one direction closes, permit yourself to grieve and then seek another road without surrendering hope. Your future is greater than the decision of any one person. Return to peace, my child. Allow your heart to become lighter through gratitude. You do not need to struggle in order to prove your value. You need only to live faithfully according to what is good, care for what has been entrusted to you, and continue growing each day. Every morning, choose to live more kindly than you did yesterday. Whenever you stumble, rise without condemning yourself. Whenever you succeed, remain humble. Whenever you must choose, choose the road that leads you closer to love, clarity, dignity, and peace. This is the deep transformation no one can take away from you.